Alex here with another review. This time we're taking a look at Gearwrench's brand new Pro Command Bi-Directional Scan tool. Now this features a massive 10-inch screen, topology, full system diagnostics, and also 51 service functions, as well as the ability to connect to other vehicles that do not support OBD-II. So there's a tremendous amount of capability on this unit, and it comes with a ton of accessories. And on this video, I'm gonna walk you through its features as well as show you the vehicle coverage list. That way you can see if your vehicle is gonna be supported by the scanner. As always, I'd like to remind you that I place a link in the description down below to the scan tool if you'd like to get one for yourself. And this is one heavy duty case. It contains not only all the adapters to connect to different brands of vehicles, also the scanner and the wireless VCI. And the scan tool features a 10-inch touchscreen and rubberization on each of the edges, which helps with drop protection and also to give you a good grip on this unit. Now the portion in the center, this is just hard plastic. Power button is located at the top and it is backlit, and there's also a dust cover that reveals a USB-C port. And we also get an integrated camera and an aluminum kickstand. Wireless VCI feels nice and heavy duty, metal body with rubberization on both of the edges and a screen. For the most part, it's going to be used with this OBD2 connector to wirelessly diagnose a vehicle, but it can also be used wired using this USB connector to USB-C that connects right here. And we also get USB-C cable to DC output for cases where diagnosing a vehicle without a standard OBD2 connector requires to inject power into them, USB-C to USB-C cable, and a USB-C to full-size USB-A adapter. And the other side of the case contains adapters for vehicles that do not use a standard 16-pin OBD2 connector. And these are only going to be used on rare cases for specialty vehicles and older vehicles. This is for BMW 20 pins, and I'll show you what they look like. That way you can compare it to your vehicle to see if it's going to fit. This is for Benz 38 pins, Mazda 17 pins, Toyota 17 pins, Nissan 14 pins, Kia 20 pins, Kia Hyundai 10 pins, Honda 3 pins, Fiat 3 pins, Suzuki 3 pins, GM Daewoo 12 pins, and then we got Benz 14 pins. We also get a Citroen 2-pin connector, universal one with 3-pin Pro connections, Volkswagen and Audi 2+2, and then this adapter right here which says Mitsubishi Hyundai 12+16. And there's also a spot for the power adapter, USB-C with a foldable faceplate. And they also included a charging dock, which makes it super convenient to keep the scanner charged when it's not being used. And a small but very nice detail is how I can store the VCI with the OBD2 cable attached to it. Most scanners require me to unplug the cable for storage, which I find annoying. Here we don't have to do that. And we'll start by connecting to the vehicle's OBD2 port. And the wireless VCI shows you the vehicle's voltage and its connection status. And we'll begin with the auto scan option, also known as AutoVin. And we're given the following options, and we'll start with a full automatic scan of the system. And this scanner supports topology. Now a total of 14 systems were found on this vehicle, and 9 DTCs were found, and you can see where they were found within the topology list. You could also just tap on list, and then you can see the different systems. The green check marks indicates that those things pass without no issue. The ones that have this exclamation mark, you can see in here the details for the different DTCs that were found on this vehicle. There's also the option to create a report of the issues found or to clear all the issues found. Now additionally, even though we have the codes right here, if you're not familiar with them, you can go inside of diagnostics. It tells you what the system does. In this case is the TPMS system. Tap read DTCs and it gives us the list, and then you have the search icon. Tapping that search icon is gonna Google that code for you to help you in finding out what that code actually means. In this case, it's gonna show us a little bit of the Google AI assisting us, but you can see on here that this is kind of a great search feature which can help you get familiar with the codes that were found. But let's go inside of a different system. In this case, the engine again tells us what that system does, and then we have the options one more time, but this time we're going to go to actuator test. Now this being a bi-directional scanner, it can control different things on the vehicle. Some vehicles will have more control than others depending on how new they are. Let's also take a look inside of special function. Again, the amount of control that you're going to have over a vehicle in tests or special functions will vary from vehicle to vehicle depending on how new they are. Well, let's go on to the fun stuff, which is the live data. And here you have the list of live data coming from the vehicle, quite a bit of parameters that we can stream from the car. In fact, they found a total of 284 different parameters that we are streaming from the vehicle. And I selected 8 different parameters so we can graph them. 8 is the most that you can graph at the same time. If you try to select more than 8, it won't let you. You can unselect the one that you don't need and then select the one that you want. Let's try to do 8 of them. I'm going to tap on custom, and here you have the 8 parameters. And if you look at RPMs, you can see what that looks like. Now to graph them, you got the chart option, and then you can switch it over to a column graph. But you can also switch over to this individual graph, each parameter in one individual graph. Let's look at engine RPM. You can see each one individually graphing. Well, probably the most interesting one is going to be the 2D graph, where they're all combined together into a single graph. Convenient if you want to see the relationship between these different parameters, which are color coded and also ID'd on this side. And you can also choose to record the data for later review. And any reports that you create or any data that is recorded is going to be found under report. You'll have a spot for reports and a spot for live data recorded. There's a second way to diagnose a vehicle, and that is with the diagnostic option. Now, this is also a good opportunity to take a look at the vehicle coverage list. That way you can see if your vehicle is going to be supported by the scanner. This is the list for vehicles for America. This is the list for Australia. By the way, if you don't see your vehicle make on any of these lists, there's still the possibility that you can connect to your vehicle and diagnose it using the scanner, and I'll show you how to do that right now. And moving over to the list for Asia, and I'll scroll through here. And finally, let's take a look at the list for Europe. And the vehicle that we're currently on is somewhat rare, so it's not on the vehicle supported make list, but I can use OBD-II diagnostics to connect to the vehicle and diagnose it. I'm going to select auto scan. And as you can see, we can read trouble codes, clear trouble codes, live data, freeze frame data, and several other options. Let's take a look at live data. And just like before, we have live data coming from the vehicle. Even though this vehicle is technically not on the supported make list, we can see live data coming from it. And just like before, we can graph the data. So that is one way that you can diagnose a vehicle that is not on the vehicle coverage supported list. Moving over to special functions, this is what people usually know as service functions. Tire upgrade, typically used for changing the tire of the size, injector coating, VGT relearn, windows initialization, transmission oil reset, SRS, AC relearn, EGR relearn, VIN write, start-stop reset, clutch adaptation, coolant replacement, speed limit, ABS bleeding, DPF regeneration, and I'll scroll through here, throttle, odometer read, fuel injector calibration, BMS reset, which is the battery management, control unit reset for ECU, ECU configurations, sunroof initialization, glow plug reset, EPROM, seat calibration, fuel pump priming, camshaft sensor learning, NOx reset, suspension calibration, coolant refill and drain, and this list keeps on going, headlight, which typically is known as AFS, ADAS, EPB, which is electronic parking brake, oil reset, EBAP test, SES, which is for the steering angle, FRM reset, airbag reset, gear learning, gearbox match, HB battery, AF reset, rain light sensor, TPMS reset, AD blue reset, transport mode, language change, GPF regeneration, power balance, instrument cluster, and key programming. Moving over to updates, they're included for 3 years. You can do them individually with the up icon, or you can do all of them together with the update all function. And under the more section, we'll find the profile. Under profile, there's gonna be a workshop area where you can enter your workshop information if you wanted that to show up on your reports. There is also an endoscope app for the optional boroscope, copy of the user manual, and access to the App Store to add additional modules. And finally, under settings, we get a couple of language options, unit of measurement options, sound and display customization, but there's also a drop-down menu where you can access some of those similar things and also access behind the scenes for the scanner. And I navigated to YouTube so we can see how the video and audio sounds. Hey guys, welcome That's back. Pretty good. Some scanners do not include sound, this one does. So overall, this is probably the most advanced and capable scanner I have reviewed on the channel yet. And the fact that they included the charging dock, that we don't have to buy it separately, I really like that. Especially in a shop environment, it makes it so much easier just to drop this and it's charging than having to unplug and plug a cable in. Now, if you don't really care for the charging dock and you don't need all the capabilities such as the non-standard adapters for vehicles that don't use OBD2, you could save a little money by getting the smaller version of the scan tool. It's available with a 7-inch screen and also features topology. Make sure you check that out. That way you can decide if you really need to go for the 10-inch or the 7-inch with a couple less capability, but a big price drop. I'll put a link to both tools, the 10-inch and the 7-inch, in the description down below if you want to get one for yourself. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments also. And if you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as a lot more scanner reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.